right about now.
Great.
Go ahead and check your Facebook page. I did tag you in it, so make sure that it's showing up on your wall. And we will get started here.
Let me see. Yep, we got it.
Perfect. So hello to everyone tuning in the Facebook world. It has been a busy, fun, fantastic day, and I am honored here today to have Kaedi Knepshield of Piatt Sotheby's International Realty in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania joining me. Hello, Kaedi.
Hi, Miranda. How are you?
Good. Now, this is not your first time with us. We just recently interviewed you and your whole team there at Piatt Sotheby's for that amazing key toss video that you guys did for marketing.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, the Don't Rush Challenge. I haven't checked in a couple of days, but we were like just at about 25,000 views the last time I checked. So that's all organic, no paid, nothing. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, just an incredible marketing piece in general. So when you reached out to me and you're like, Miranda, you do realize that Falling Water is right around the corner from us, like an hour south. Let's talk about it. I think I had a heart attack because that is on my list of things. I already told you I haven't visited Pittsburgh yet, but Falling Water is like one of those bucket list items that I have to go to. Like, I can't believe, I guess I knew it was in Pennsylvania, but I didn't realize it was so close to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's only about an hour south of the city. And there is also a great little resort called Knepshield down there too. So you could go and kind of make a weekend of it. And there's actually more than one Frank Lloyd Wright homes down there. So yeah, so you can visit more than one. Kentucknob is privately owned, but they actually open it up to the public. So you can tour Kentucknob. Kentucknob actually has an incredible art installation on the grounds. So if it's a nice day, you can start at the house and walk through all the art installations. It's really fantastic.
I love that. You know, I didn't realize when we had just gotten introduced the other week that you also share a passion for architecture, and just share a little bit about how you became familiar with Frank Lloyd Wright and what the draw is for you personally.
So because Falling Water is so close, I mean, I remember I was a kid, I think the first time I went to Falling Water, and I've been many, many times over the years. And it's such a unique, special place because, I mean, there's a literal waterfall that runs through the house. And it is just, every time I see it, it's just outstanding. And so Pittsburgh has a lot of incredible architecture in our city that I luckily get to see as a real estate agent. But yeah, Falling Water kind of holds a special place in my heart just because I love to be outdoors and to kind of mix the two, like home and nature is just, you know, it's just phenomenal.
You know, I grew up in Southeast Minnesota. So one of the properties, you know, the whole Spring Break, Wisconsin area is kind of where he started his architectural career. So I also, very similarly to yourself, grew up going to those prairie style homes that just mixed nature with architecture in this really organic, beautiful way that just felt like home, right? I used to envision that one day my bathroom would have like a beautiful pine tree and a waterfall in the bathroom. Like, who has those ideas? I guess people who tour these kind of homes, right? Like, but I know the story, you know, I've studied a little bit about the history and the background, and it's kind of interesting. You know that I already have a passion for inspiring people and making the most out of difficult situations, and the fact that we are really what we go through and grow through as far as our character. And I think it's really important for everyone tuning in, watching today, to realize that Frank Lloyd Wright went through a really tough time, a downtime when Taliesin actually burned down in Spring Green, Wisconsin due to an arson fire. And kind of his career, his life, everything kind of shattered, and he was kind of considered a has-been for some time. Now, when he dove himself into reestablishing that estate in Wisconsin, and then later, quite later in his life, I don't recall if it was in his 70s, but in a later stage, he actually opened up, like brought people in, young students into Taliesin, and started kind of mentoring them there. And it was one of his students' father who commissioned Falling Water in Pennsylvania. So after he kind of had this struggle in life and this downturn, and everyone thought he was a has-been, he revived and did some of his best architecture ever there in your city and around your city. Is really the highlight of his career and what he's most known for. So talk about it. You're the area expert. Tell me everything about what you see there and how it's influenced your city's culture.
Yeah, so the Kaufman family is who commissioned them to come and do Falling Water. And so the Kaufman, they were a department store here in Pittsburgh. Kaufman's no longer exists, but
already I'm so impressed with your knowledge. You're on point. I love it.
Well, after you're just, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I don't know as much as I did. But so the Kaufmans were in downtown Pittsburgh. They're actually, the building that the Kaufman department store used to be in is now going to be a Target for us, which is really big news because we don't have a lot of big grocery stores like supermarkets like that in our downtown area. So it's going to be great for the downtowns for downtown. But the Kaufmans wanted to have an estate outside of the city. You know, before the 80s, Pittsburgh was a steel town. It wasn't very clean here. So you did not want to live here all of the time. You wanted to get out. So the Kaufmans commissioned Wright to do Falling Water. And it's in a place called Laurel Highlands. And if my memory serves me correct, they kind of found this, I think it was Wright that, you know, they'd had this tract of land and Wright was like, I want to build the house over the waterfall. And they're like, you've got to be out of your mind. So, you know, they built this whole house. The waterfall comes right through the living room, which is just spectacular. There's actually several outbuildings in the estate. So, you know, there were servant quarters, but even those were designed well. I mean, he didn't really leave, you know, nothing was like an afterthought for him. Yeah. With the exception that one could say though, is the kitchens, because all of his kitchens are very small because he didn't think that they were important. So for the modern consumer, you go in the kitchen and you're like,
little galley kitchen. Yeah.
Tiny little kitchens. But I mean, the interesting thing, when you walk into Falling Water, you're in the living space that has the waterfall in it. Everything draws your eye out to nature. So like all the windows are, they're big, but like the ceilings are kind of low to kind of like draw you out into nature. It's really spectacular. He did, like the windows are all, I'm trying to remember what they're called, but like they have corner windows, which wasn't something that really they did then. So you can open them and the whole corner is open. So it's really spectacular. And for certain, you have to come.
I am coming. I've already decided that as soon as I can jump on a plane. I think Pittsburgh might be one of my first stops now that your weather is so beautiful. Yeah. I think maybe I should bring my videographer and we can do a whole like on site. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be super fun. Yeah. But so because of Falling Water and how popular it was, you see a lot of influence in some of the architecture here in Pittsburgh. There's a neighborhood in the suburbs called Swan Acres that has a concrete home. The entire home is concrete, but it is very Frank Lloyd Wright inspired. So you see a lot of like in like kind of the modern, the older modern architecture that was very heavily influenced by Wright. Plus, I think some of his disciples kind of came here and worked as well. So
it's so funny how prevalent his inspirations were for his understudies. You know, the home that I'm actually in right now was designed by Dwayne Stark and Neil Schweitzer, who studied under Frank Lloyd Wright and helped him build the Florida Southern College, here in Lakeland. And, you know, you talk about the modern use of concrete. It was really revolutionary at the time. Concrete as a whole, as Frank Lloyd Wright was starting his career, was something that was really kind of a technological advancement and a new building material. You know, the reason they could go so high with skyscrapers and things, but he utilized it in a much different way. And Dwayne Stark, actually, this is the Stark home that I'm virtually sitting in right here today, his personal residence. The builder, Dwayne Stark, he actually built our Orlando County Public Library. Wow, what is with me today? I'm in the sun. Florida's baking my brain. But he did the Orlando County, again, Orlando Public Library, Orange County. I give up. So, Katie, the one thing that I've learned, I've been doing a lot of interviews the last month with a lot of marketing experts and social media influencers. And the one thing they said is authenticity is key. Be yourself, no apologies. People will accept your vulnerability and embrace you more because they're just like you and we all make mistakes. So forgive my stumbling. But it's just really interesting to see that one life could have such an impact, not just in his city, but really in every city he touched. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it was Wisconsin, Chicago, LA, there in Pittsburgh, and then eventually even in the Scottsdale, Arizona area, really everywhere he went, he just brought this passion and this vibrance and this energy with him. that kind of revolutionized the landscape and the architecture for that time period. And, I'm not sure about your city. How are they preserving these pieces? Or, I was talking with Greg over in California the other day about Granada Hills and Joseph Eichler's designs. And it's either people love the architectural designs or they don't. And there's, this mixed appreciation of utility. Either people value it and they want to restore it to the natural character, or they want to bulldoze it for the land. Like this one sits on 4 acres, and someone suggested that. And I was just like, my brain froze. I was like, no. And it's about the stewardship of the history and the legacy. We still have the architectural drawings and the magazine articles for this property that are going to convey with the sales. So yeah, obviously it's the hope that someone will value the story as much as the property itself. So what are you seeing in the Pittsburgh market as far as creating a legacy and stewardship?
So we don't have any Wright buildings in Pittsburgh. So yeah, so everything is in, oh my gosh, the sun just came out. Woo, I'm gonna sit back here. So falling water, I believe, is like under preservation. So nothing can happen to falling water. There is an awful lot of work that goes into keeping it, because as cool as a waterfall sounds through a house, it's not very practical, because water is a very powerful substance, and it is eroding things and all of that kind of stuff as well. But for the most part in Pittsburgh, we rehab a lot. We don't really tear things down that often, which is nice. There are certain neighborhoods where maybe things are torn down a little bit, but as far as like our historical stuff, we actually were representing Baywood Manor, which was, I believe, part of the Mellon family, who obviously has a huge legacy here in Pittsburgh. And it is, the people who own it is a private, they own it privately. They restored it like exactly like it was when it was built. So we have a lot of people that preserve things and thankfully don't really like tear them down, which is nice.
Good.
Yeah.
That's so refreshing to hear. And I think it's important for people, architectural enthusiasts and realtors with a passion also, to just kind of stick together in putting these properties in front of the right people, right? And representing them all. I'm actually going to replicate, you recently did a lifestyle video on one of your beautiful, it's a high rise there, a penthouse, isn't it? And
no, it's actually a townhouse. So yeah, and the really cool kind of,
right over the water.
So the really cool kind of personal story for that is when I was 20, I lived in that neighborhood, and I watched those townhomes be built. And so I would walk up and down and I'd be like, man, those places are so cool. And then to get to represent one has just been like beyond, like, I'm just so thrilled. But there's actually 9 townhomes there. It's gated, which is fantastic. Most of those homes are people's second homes. The gate allows them to kind of like lock it and leave it and not really have to worry about it. But they are townhomes. So there's 3 living spaces. Mine has 2 decks off of the back and a walkout patio in the bottom. So it is really, it's really, really cool.
I mean, in the lifestyle video you shot, it just really captures this beautiful urban setting. You just feel like you're right in the middle of everything. It's a great, great townhome. And I think you did a fantastic job capturing just the nature and the feel of how one would live in that space. I'm really excited to do that with this property as soon as we're technically able to. We're still under a stay-at-home order here for a little bit, which I think is good. I'm glad that everyone's staying healthy and happy, and that we can utilize these tools and resources to really connect with people all over the country. I'm learning so much about architecture in other markets by having conversations like this. Joe Schumacher is actually tuning in this next week from Palm Springs. I'm sure you'll want to watch that. And then we also have Heidi Sagan out of Chicago coming back on, and she's going to talk a little bit more in depth. And those 2 are really experts. Heidi sat on a panel discussion at G&E in Vancouver discussing mid-century modern architecture and things. So that one you'll really have to watch with me, and we'll just go really deep. It'll be pretty interesting. I'm excited about that.
That'll be fun. I'm so sad I joined like right after G&E. So
oh really? Which one? Vegas or Vancouver?
Vancouver. I only started with Sotheby's last June. So I'm coming up. I haven't even been here for a year. I've been an agent for 15 years, but this is
welcome
Sotheby's. So I'm looking forward to Nashville. you know, that should be a good time. I love Nashville. Nashville is such a fun city. So I'm super excited to visit it again.
Have you been to Cheekwood Estates there in Nashville?
I have not, no.
Must. And I don't think it was touched by the tornado that they had a while ago. I think it's still okay, but gorgeous estate. It's one of those, again, we talk about people who put all of their life resources and assets into building something monumental and creating a legacy. It is expansive. The gardens, the walking paths, you have to check it out. Or maybe we can go together when we're both there next April.
That would be great.
It's going to be here before we know it at this point.
Yeah. I mean, these have been a long 6 weeks. I mean, we have been under, we have not been allowed to practice real estate at all for the past 6 weeks. And unfortunately, we thought yesterday we'd be able to start next week. And there's we don't know when we're the only state in the country that is not allowed to practice real estate at all. So it's been a tough couple of weeks, but we'll get through it.
Right. Yeah, you can't even do closings, can you? You can't do anything.
We can do virtual closings. So like we can't attend them, but any contract that was written after March 16th, which is when like our strictest stay-at-home order, you can't do home inspections, you can't do appraisals, you can't go show property. So, you know, there's been people that have written sight unseen offers, but there's not many people that are going to do that, you know? So, so we're navigating it, but we're trying to figure it out.
I think you're handling it quite well. I do go stir crazy. So there are things that we can do that are limiting distance. I don't bring my customers or clients into the home. I usually do video chats, but I can get out to the properties and show them, which makes a difference. But I can't even imagine not having that capacity or that bandwidth. In Florida, our contracts have an inspection period. So it's during that time frame, that window, the buyer can back out for any reason on an as-is contract, regardless, and keep their escrow deposit. They don't even need an excuse. It's just if it's in that time period, they can cancel the contract for any reason. Yeah. And we've seen those inspection periods go from what's usually a 10 to 15 day window up, obviously, for people coming from out of state to come see property. So it gives a little bit more security purchasing sight unseen. Do you have anything similar to that in your contracts?
We do, and we've written special wording really to be like within 48 hours a buyer can inspect, because our home is the way our home inspection clause is written. You actually have to conduct the home inspection, and since we can't do home inspections currently, it's too much of a risk to our clients to kind of like hope that they'll be able, even if we extended them, because like we thought this was going to be 2 weeks initially, and now we're looking at 2 months. So it's too, you know, it's too risky to our clients to try to depend on that. So we've written certain verbiage that, you know, within 48 hours after the governor's orders are lifted and they do a walkthrough, that they could back out and get their escrow back. So yeah, we're figuring it out. We're using this time to educate buyers, get our sellers prepping, you know, ready to list, come up with our game plan for kind of this, you know, what business is going to be like moving forward, because we feel like the in-person stuff probably is going to be a little limited. So much more video, Matterport tours for everything, and you know, we'll figure it out.
I love your stick-to-itiveness and your positive attitude. You seem very resourceful, and like you really genuinely are making the best of the situation. And I so admire that. I mean, I think there are good ways and bad ways to handle it, and you're definitely going about it the right way. For whatever reason, I feel like anyone in Orlando who was thinking about a summer home, maybe Pittsburgh should be a consideration. Most people go to North Carolina, but look at that view. That's just
it's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, our weather in the like spring to fall is absolutely gorgeous. And our winters have been milder lately. So even the winters are like not terrible here. People still go to Florida because why wouldn't you sit on a beach? But yeah, we have beautiful, in fact, today is absolutely gorgeous. We were out walking the dog and for around the neighborhood for the millionth time.
Oh, I'm just curious, and I know we were going to talk architecture, and we're kind of getting off on this tangent, but I'm totally okay with that. Tell me a little bit about your price per square foot. Let's just say someone wanted to come get a second home up in Pittsburgh, and they just wanted something simple, come up for the summer, have that quality of life. Like, what kind of price ranges and then price per square foot are we talking?
So interestingly enough, we only just started doing price per square foot in our multi-list. So I know It's like, and actually it's not even price per square foot. Like we still have to figure it out, but we actually started advertising square footage of our listings. I know it sounds like within probably the last 2 years, which sounds crazy. So we don't really talk in terms of price per square foot because our appraisers don't appraise price per square foot. Yeah. So I can do it for new construction because we do a lot of new construction. We still price that by square foot. So like our new construction is like under 300 a square foot. So it depends on where you're going to live. Our average sales price here is like around 130. So it is very affordable to live here. Yeah.
Who wants 5? No, that's really reasonable. Very affordable.
Yeah. So that's like when we have people, because we have all this tech industry, plus we have some of the best hospitals in the world here, University of Pittsburgh, Duquesne, Chatham, like we have, a lot of really great schools here too. When people come here, they cannot believe what they can get for, the price that,
I'm blown away. I'm literally just kind of agape. So let's just speculate here. $1 million buys me what? I know you don't do price per square foot, but what can $1 million buy me as far as a home?
So one of like the neighborhood that Adam lives in Sewickley, $1 million can get you probably around 8,000 to 9,000 square feet. $1 million in the city, there's not even that many like will get you like a massive penthouse in the city. So yeah. So like, Conrad and I live in one of the hottest neighborhoods in town, and our highest priced home that is sold there has been $825,000. So yeah, the strip district where Kaylee lives, they just built these incredible brownstones. I'm not exactly I can't remember the square footage on them, but they were like 1.25 million. They are massive though. So
3 stories?
Yeah, 3 stories. Yeah, they're huge. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful.
I wonder, oh my gosh, I can't wait to visit your city, and you definitely have to come visit mine. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to go back and touch on as far as architecture? I just want to make the most of your time. I know it's a sunny, beautiful Saturday, and time with your.
I mean, the city itself has just some incredible architecture too. Our courthouse was designed by, I'm going to, again, now I'm blanking on their name, but our architecture downtown is just absolutely incredible. So a lot of brick row houses with really intricate, corbels. And I mean, yeah, if you want to come and do architecture, come stay in the city for a couple of days and take, go an hour south to the Laurel Highlands. Absolutely check out Falling Water and Kentuck Knob. Kentuck Knob is also really, really cool. So the house itself, Kentuck Knob's, is interesting. It's no falling water, but the grounds and the outdoor art installation is really spectacular too. Because I've only been there once. I've been to Falling Water. I can't even remember how many times. So, but yeah, it's just an incredible place to visit.
So I know on our last interview, we discussed a lot about Pittsburgh's food scene and all the restaurants you have. If anyone is thinking about stopping in Pittsburgh and would like some tour guide advice, don't forget your realtors are usually pretty excellent tour guides. We know exactly where to eat, which little neighborhoods you have to drive through, stop through. If you want an insider's view to a city before you vacation, the best person to ask is your local realtor. They probably know someone in that city they can connect you to. And our friends are your friends are my friends. And we'd love to stay connected in that way and provide that luxury concierge service. So Katie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Miranda, it was good seeing you.
Yeah. Let's chat again after this stay-at-home order gets lifted, because I have a feeling you're going to be busy. Life is going to change dramatically, and Pittsburgh is going to be booming with activity.
Yeah, we have 10 million worth of business on the books ready to go once this order is lifted. So for us at our low price point, 10 million is a lot.
That's a lot of transactions. So
yeah.
I wish you the best. Tell everyone else I say hello. Tell Lucas hi. Lucas Piatt, great guy. All right. Have a great time. And we will definitely see you at G&E and before then.
Fantastic. Thanks, Miranda.
Welcome. Bye, Katie.
Bye.